Me and my buddies really love to do road trips across Russia. Sure, it takes a lot of time to get to anywhere nice looking from Moscow, but the sense of accomplishment you get from conquering the expanse of the biggest country in the world gets to us every time. You ever heard how beautiful Altai's lakes are? No? Not surprising, not even the majority of Russians have. People fawn over places like Switzerland or Norway, while missing out on such a beauty within their own country. A shame, but it also means that the place is not crowded with tourists. Just me and my buddies. We usually all take a vacation in August, quickly pick a place we'd never been to before, and after some quick preparations, we move out. There are usually 4 of us, and we work in one-day shifts. The front row shift is busy driving and checking the maps, while the back row shift gets to drink, watch movies, and entertain the front row. It used to be fun. More fun than New Year and Christmas combined. We can't have that much fun now. Now that there are only 3 of us left. See, last summer we decided to drive really far. We decided to explore Yakutia, a region beyond Siberia. You've probably never heard of it, and yet it is 5 times bigger than France. And if Siberia is the mysterious heart of our motherland, the Yakutia is its dark underbelly, the modern terra incognita. Knowing how long it would take us to get there on a car, we'd spend a lot of vacation days on that trip. Some of us wanted to just fly there and rent a car there, which made sense, but it would defeat the purpose. No, to truly enjoy Yakutia, we had to get there ourselves. The hardships that we had encountered on our way there were just adding flavor to our trip. It was making that moment when we'd finally reach our destination much more satisfying. When we finally did, it felt underwhelming. Yakutia's forests weren't very different from the ones we had driven through, but we knew that it would pass. Yakutia was the land of the waterfalls. We just had to find one. One of the locals in the village we were passing through pointed in the direction of one, said that it was the most beautiful for thousands of kilometers around, but beware. He warned us. The path there is perilous, and the road is very dangerous. Do not sway from it and follow all the rules. He paused for a second, giving us a skeptical look, and then added, and better yet, turn around and go where you've come from. We didn't pay his words much attention, chalking it up as the usual rural superiority complex. He probably believed that we were just city boys who get lost in the forest. We were confident in our navigational abilities, so we just thanked him and took off in the direction he showed us. My friend Oleg was driving. He pushed the pedal to the floor as we wanted to reach the destination before the sunset to enjoy the view. We were out of luck. The path there turned out to be longer than we expected. The sun was already setting behind the mountain, painting the sky crimson red, and the shadows were so long. It was practically night when we reached the road he was talking about. It was stretching through the forest and at first sight was not any different from any other road, if not for the tall fence that stretched from it in both directions. The fence had a board on it with a cryptic message. As I was in the passenger seat, I managed to take a glance at it as we wheezed by. You are entering the road that leads to Mountain Yambui. For your own safety, follow the following rules. 1. Do not turn on the main beam headlights. 2. Do not pick up hitchhikers. 3. If your car breaks, do not step outside. 4. During the winter, if your car won't start in 5 minutes, you may leave the car for a moment to drain your fuel into a bucket and set it on fire. It will keep you warm and safe. 5. If you hear nothing, do not look at the forest. 6. If you've stepped outside the car, do not. I did not finish the last rule. Oleg was driving too fast for me to do so. Hey, did you read what was written there? He asked me. I shook my head. Only part of it. The damn rules are too long. I complained. It said not to turn on the main beam. You ever heard of a rule or regulation like that? He shook his head. Not that I know of. I looked around. The forest was dark and empty, with pines almost hanging over it. I shuddered and told him, perhaps it's better if we followed them. The road was surprisingly good and even. After driving for thousands of kilometers on dusty roads full of holes, having a smooth ride in the middle of wilderness was nothing short of a surprise. Even more than that, it felt off. It was almost like no one ever drove on that road since the moment it was built. I remembered the villagers warning and shuddered. Being half the world away from home only to find the place so abandoned and shunned was not how I imagined our vacation to go. Step on it, I asked my friend, wanting to get out as soon as possible. I can't see shit, my friend grunted, annoyed and tired. That rule of yours is bullshit. I looked ahead. Truly, even though the sky wasn't fully dark yet, the shadows were so thick that we could see absolutely nothing just beyond the cone of light our headlights produced. We could be charging towards a concrete wall, and we wouldn't see it until it would be too late. Screw it, my friend said, turning on the main beam. I'm not going to risk our lives over some bullshit rules. The moment he flicked the stick, the road ahead got drowned in light. And far ahead, maybe 200 meters away, I saw a figure, his hand already raised above the road. A hitchhiker. He wasn't walking along the road. He was just standing there with his head raised as if he was waiting for us to come pick him up. Despite the fact that the bright lights must have been burning out his retinas, he was still staring straight at the car, not even raising his free hand to cover his eyes. I remembered the second rule, and chills ran down my spine. It was as if the people who had set up that warning sign knew it would happen. Was it just a coincidence, and I was looking too much into it? The rules said not to pick up any hitchhikers. I quickly warned my friend. Really? Well, it's not like we have any space anyway. He nodded towards the back seat where our friends were on their sixth beer, laughing and joking and completely oblivious to what was happening around them. At that moment, I felt jealous of them. I felt sorry that it wasn't my shift to have fun. We wheezed past him, but he didn't even turn his head to take a look at us. He kept staring into the horizon, waiting for the next car. What a creep, Oleg commented. What the hell is he doing in the forest at such time? Those rules you cited make it sound like it's dangerous there at night. Maybe he is the danger. One of the guys on the back row joked. Maybe he's like a serial killer or something. Yeah, maybe, Oleg mused. It was then that the car started to slow down. What are you doing? I asked my friend, only to see his gaze full of panic. Nothing. It's not me. Something's wrong with the car. Rule 3. If your car brakes, do not step outside. I remembered. First the hitchhiker, and now this. What was going on? It couldn't be a coincidence. The lights died and the engine stopped working. Only inertia was carrying us now. Oleg pulled over to the side of the road. Ah, damn it. He slammed the steering wheel. I'll go take a look under the hood. Wait! I grabbed him by the shoulder. The rules said not to leave the car if it breaks. And what, am I supposed to wait for the locals to come rescue me? Fat chance. Maybe that's their plan. Maybe they want us to wait for them to come rescue us so that they can make us pay for it, Oleg said and popped the hood open. He left the door open on his way out, letting the fresh breeze in. Hey, you okay there, bud? You look terribly pale. One of my pals wondered. I wanted to explain to them how I felt, how strange it was that the rules were describing just what was happening to us, and how it all started just when we broke rule number 1. But I also understood how silly and superstitious it all sounded. Tomorrow, it will all be just a fun joke. I calmed myself. What? No, thank you, Oleg suddenly said. I glanced outside and gave him a puzzled look. What were you saying? He just nodded towards the forest. I was talking to them was how I recognized his gesture and kept talking. Why, that's very sweet of you. I looked at the forest. There was no one there. Yet Oleg was talking to someone there. No, it's just me and my friends. Do you have any friends over there? He said, getting flustered. I looked at him, then back at the forest, and strained my hearing. I could hear the owl, the crickets, but nothing that resembled human speech. Whoever Oleg was talking to was invisible and silent. It was as if he was going crazy. Oleg, stop pulling my leg, I told him, hoping that it was some kind of joke. Maybe he decided to teach me a lesson for being so naive and superstitious. Really? Okay. He smiled towards the forest and headed for the bushes. The grass and dry branches rustled under his feet. Oleg, where are you going? Oleg. I shouted for him, but he ignored my cries. He stepped into the bushes, and a moment later I couldn't hear him anymore. It was as if he froze in place the moment he left our sight. As I was straining my hearing, I realized something that almost made me lose my mind. It wasn't that I couldn't hear just Oleg. I couldn't hear the forest at all. Owls, other night birds, crickets, all of them went silent at the same time, as if they were never there. As if someone turned off the sound. Rule number 5. If you hear nothing, do not look at the forest. I remembered, and I instantly squeezed my eyes shut. I didn't open them until I crawled into the driver's seat and felt my hands resting on the steering wheel. "Don't look at the forest," I shouted to my friends, perhaps a bit too loud. "It was one of the rules. Whatever you do, don't look at it." I slammed the door shut and started turning the key. The hood was still propped open, but I wouldn't leave the car to close it for anything in the world. I was ready to drive through that cursed forest without seeing the road. I just needed the car to start. The sounds weren't coming back, and even the night seemed to be getting darker with each moment. I felt cornered. Luckily, the forces that preyed on us must have felt pity for us. The engine suddenly came back to life, and I pushed the pedal to the floor, picking up the speed. I switched from the main beam to dipped. The hood was shaking in the wind until it finally came off and flew over the roof. As I was speeding ahead, the headlights caught another hitchhiker standing near the road. I managed to catch a glimpse of his face. He was smiling, exposing the bloody teeth. God, there was so much blood. It was rushing down his chin. In about 15 minutes, we saw another fence ahead, and I sighed in relief. We finally made it. Then I thought about Oleg and broken tears. Even though there was nothing we could do to save him without falling prey to the same forces, I still couldn't help but think that we abandoned him. I glanced back at the fence, and sure enough, the sign with the rules was there. I glanced at rule number 6. 6. If you've stepped outside the car, do not talk to anyone. One rule that Oleg broke. One rule that, had he followed it, could have saved his life. We decided to head back home in the morning, but for now, we needed to find somewhere to sleep. He checked the maps and headed for the nearest town 70 kilometers away. When we entered the inn, tired and exhausted, the innkeeper, one of the local ethnicities, after greeting us, wondered, "Did you make it here through the road that leads to Mountain Yambui?" "How do you know?" I wondered. "Oh, I know that look you have on your face. I've seen it many times over the years," he shared with me. "Did you follow the rules?" I silently shook my head. "Ah, a pity," innkeeper sighed. "Mountain Yambui means the evil Mudan in local language, and that place had been like that for centuries, long before your kind came here. People go missing there all the time, and even the most powerful of our shamans don't know what kind of force dwells there." "I'd rather not talk about it," I said. "We lost a friend there." "Well, that is very sad, but count your blessings." "It could be much worse," he ominously said, looking me in the eye. "You're lucky you did not traverse that forest during winter. Yakutia's winter nights never end. A bunch of unprepared city boys like you would never make it out alive."